Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another scene for the living world of darkness, Rage Across New York. The reason you are seeing this fabulous dog, this dog who has seen too much, is that he is a black dog. And the black dog warning is thus: if you are under the age of 18, this scene will have content. Content that is potentially triggering, potentially traumatizing, and all in all, generally unpleasant. So if you are under the age of 18, you might seriously consider just not watching the bad things that we are about to do, because they are bad and unhealthy. There will be a trigger warning specifically for self-harm in this particular scene. So this is your opportunity to close out or to back out and to decide maybe to do something like watch a video of puppies. Everyone likes puppies. But if you are determined and you would like to see the horrible things that we have wrought, we shall continue thusly. We are setting scene in the Sept of the Green, where this morning, while the keeper has been acting strange in the last week, she has gotten more and more reclusive over time. She has exposed herself to fewer and fewer people, answered even those ones less and less, and finally, as of this morning, has simply not shown up at all. She has accelerated her keeper duties for the week, making sure that everything that should be tended in a given span of time has been tended, perhaps early, but well within the appropriate span of time, so that no spirits will be left feeling neglected, feeling uncared for, or just basically covering her bases, knowing what was about to happen. However, this bright and sunny morning, there was no cry from the violin as the sun touched the horizon and eventually rose above it. The keeper has walked none of her usual paths to tend the various shrines and the spirits along the way. She has not met with the cubs or the guru that have been aiding her as, well, substitute keepers of a sort. She simply just is not around. And I get the sneaky suspicion that a handful of people have taken interest in the fact that she is not around. I will say, for those who cannot be here, that there are a number of characters, namely one of her packmates, the tail singer of Sept, namely Helena, one of the cubs that is a prospective future tribesmate even, are also out and elsewhere on the search. But it is a very big Sept, it is a very big city, and with 10 Point giving no warning and completely closed off even from her packmates, there really is no good indication of even where to start in finding her. So if others would like to be credited for being part of the search parties, for being on the lookout, consider them duly credited. So what are people doing?
Jason had begun the morning early, actually, in anticipation of the lunar event that occurred, albeit more effectively on the West Coast, but all over the place this morning, because anything called a super blue blood moon sounds, kind of important to werewolves. So he tore through his morning run, his cubly duties, and everything else, and went to go see 10 Point, despite knowing that she'd been acting a little weird, but with a couple guesses as to why it might have been, not least of which the lunar event this morning. And she wasn't there. And so he did some of his duties alone and probably dug up Desmond to do some of it together, because they do work a lot on the shrines together as well. As they're still doing, together, being, within a square mile of one another. Humor me, dude. And contact was made. How's that? Is that more reasonable? Yes. Contact was made.
Yes.
And they went, I'll go this way, you go that way. And then they met in the middle again, and still no 10 Point. And Jason looks concerned.
Yeah, Desmond has a beer in his hand. He's just like drinking. He didn't have it before. He's just like just drinking it. I can't find her.
I can't either. I don't smell her around any of the shrines. I don't think she's been here today.
I mean, she could have taken a day off or something.
Yes, but I mean, I don't know how it really works, but I'm not sure that the Keeper of the Sept really gets vacation, per se.
Well, the shrines has been kept. Basically, she had little work for us to do.
Very carefully. Maybe some other people will know.
Well, he'll just drink beer and basically be like, well.
Jason does notice the beer, but will refrain from comment. At that juncture, it's reasonably certain that they probably contacted other people, including Helena and Saoirse, and then split up to begin looking around. Who else might they have found for the search party, I wonder?
Colin smoking a cigarette, staring at water.
The hippie. Basically, that's what it is. It's just going to say, like, under his breath, like, the hippie, huh?
Jason just gives him a look, like, really? And so, yeah, since Colin has been located while they are spreading out to begin their search, he'll kind of loft a hand and be like, hey, have you seen 10 Point?
No, why?
She is gone, and she's been acting really weird the past couple days.
I mean, like how gone are we talking about?
Like, never showed up to tend the shrines this morning, and nobody's seen her. Gone.
I see. The fucking pie! Colin stands straight up.
Jason looks confused.
Kailani made some inappropriate baking decisions.
What? Are you making? What is this? American Pie?
Kind of, but not quite. Listen, just
well, I mean, no. Kailani's.
We're going.
Okay.
We're gonna go look for things. We're gonna go look for things and stuff. Fuck. Shit. Fucking God. Fuck. Stupid fucking pie. I should have fucking thrown it in the trash. And he begins stomping off towards where it's easier to shift to the Umbra.
And this is what I drink.
Now, my friends, it's my favorite part of the day. Trying to go to the Umbra.
Oh, goody. This never goes badly.
Was it like diff 4 in here?
Yes.
I think it's generally diff 4. I think Amusha said in the past that if you're at the Karen Hard, it's like diff 4 or 3.
Alright, so
4, I think.
I mean, assuming we're going to be in a veil protected area so that, Jim Bob, the bystander, doesn't see our dark secrets. All that being taken care of, I'm going to attempt a diff 4 to go to the Umbra on my mighty Gnosis dice pool.
Yay!
I get there eventually. Takes a while.
Oh God! All right, now I gotta roll too.
It's fine.
You say that like I have never gotten stuck before.
It's fine.
That's what I should have.
It's not fine.
Jason runs into the umbral wall and falls over again. Perhaps because he is a little anxious right now, and it makes it difficult to concentrate. I swear to God.
Desmond is just basically over on the other side, just like, man, I didn't take my beer with me. Man, this is crazy.
Jason drinks your beer. You're like, oh, well. He totally just picks it up, sniffs at it to make sure that it's actually beer and not like fucking more moonshine, because that stuff's terrifying. Is the label still intact? Does it smell like beer?
It smells like beer.
Oh, okay. He'll drink it.
What is taking these guys all day? And basically,
Jason will start searching in the Tellurian, apparently, and I'll re-roll later.
We all made it. Diamond, did you make it?
I believe that Jason is the only one who did not make the cross into the Umbra.
All right. Colin does not do a lot of looking around to see who's coming with him. He starts going towards the sheep's meadow, stop number 1.
Desmond's just gonna walk there like.
Now beerless, because beer does not cross the gauntlet.
Yes, he's just walking this like.
And he arrives at the sheep's meadow, where there is not a 10 point. There are places that 10 point has stomped out in the past to either set out for rituals or curled up in, particularly lately, in light of her not seeing fit to leave Scepter, even the Umbra, in the last day or two. But there is no 10 point.
In the meantime, if you don't mind me intervening,
Please.
in the Umbra, there is a black wolf that just remembered both in and out of character. And he promised something to a certain Theurge on this fateful evening. And making his way to the sheep's meadow, he presumably bumps into Colin?
I mean, yeah, if you want to take a header into Colin's leg, I'm not going to stop you. But Colin, in the meantime, staring ruefully at the Umbra ground. Staring ruefully. He just stands there, just kind of chewing on the inside of his cheek for a little bit before he exclaims, "We're going to fucking Plan B!" and begins heading outbound.
What?
Plan B turns out to be the worst plan of Desmond's young life. Because it is very easy to tell that Colin is headed to the edge of the bond, the edge of bad times, Umbra side.
Whoa, wait up.
Walking in a circle. And as he leads merrily on, you'll be able to tell that when he completes a circle, he goes a little inward, and it's the start of another circle. And he's just going to keep fucking doing this till he finds something.
There's a black wolf there.
For the love of
Congrats
God.
on your slow spiral.
For the love of God, we've been walking in a circle. Don't you have a plan C or something?
No, I don't. This is the plan. We comb every inch of this place, little bit by little bit, and if she's here, we're going to eventually find her.
I do that every day on Guardian duty, Colin.
Well, then you're used to it, Desmond. You got your walking feet. It's fucking great. Fucking great. The shit over a fucking pie.
These are the antics that Rasmus gets to walk in on. It's these motherfuckers just walking a slow, wide, inwards turning spiral.
They walk into spiral. Wait, no.
It's a series of complete circles. Now.
Do she have a place to stay or something, like some cave or something that you like to go to? Or something? I don't know.
Desmond, are you even vaguely familiar with the geography of your own state?
I don't know what Taylor would like to do on her personal time.
Well, she likes to play cards.
Oh, that's
Drink.
okay. Yes, that's the usual Fiona MO and stuff. You know, what is?
No, I mean like we play cards and drink. That's a lot of her spare time.
All right, where do they go for the drinking and the spare time?
I mean, usually we do it at my place. I doubt she's there.
Am I hearing any of this?
I mean, yeah, probably. They're not really keeping it a secret or anything.
Yeah, well, the Black Wolf approaches. I'm guessing the two of you, since Jason didn't cross over.
Yeah.
Jason is methodically searching the Tellurian.
Yeah.
Very, very carefully.
And
In a grid pattern, I will note. Not a spiral.
Basically, just walk up to them and just look up at them. Are you looking for 10 point?
Yeah.
You're not gonna find her today.
I'm gonna try.
You know what? I got something that can easily do this. Do you have something that belongs to her?
I mean, not particularly. I don't really fucking collect her stuff.
Dang it. Oh, okay. Do they have? Okay, she's in a pack, right? Do they have somewhere where they stay at? You know, a house.
Probably. I mean, look, I've been to a couple places with them, but I doubt she's there.
All right.
Plus, we wouldn't be able to drag your ass out there anyway.
Look, I know that. That's why I'm going to bring a hoodie and some face wear and whatnot.
I will say for the sake of note that it is known that the Seekers do have a pack house off Sept. I will say as well that I believe it is even in the rumors that Saoirse, the Tail Singer, is also one of her packmates, has been very visibly distressed and has been searching as well, and has probably been seen doing so.
I think we should go to wherever they stay at as a pack.
We can't do that unannounced. It would start a fucking fight.
Then what are we supposed to do then? I mean, yeah, I know that, but what are we supposed to do then?
Well, we're partway through. We're gonna keep combing through.
No.
You can do whatever the fuck you want, Desmond. This is my pie-related quest.
But look, what happened? What was on that pie? What was the pie poisoned or something?
No. It's just in my experience. Medics don't take birthday wishes very well.
All right, I kind of would have figured you don't bring their birthdays up all that much. So,
Yeah, one would figure that kind of thing. However, shit happened.
Well, I don't think that
I had forgotten about it. I had written it off. Shit happened.
Okay, all right. So How about this? We call her.
She gonna answer her phone?
Let's go to the real and we find out about this, because I mean I can't really, please someone call 911. I don't,
Woohoo. Man, like, I don't want to deal with that if somebody did that shit.
Has it occurred to you that maybe she doesn't want to be found?
I mean, it's probable. Honestly. Fuck.
All right. I don't know much, but I'll tell you what I do know. She specifically told me she doesn't want to be found tonight. I think she deserves her privacy for one day a year.
You have a point.
And suggest doing something a bit more constructive in the meantime. I'm guessing we're all concerned for her well-being. Why not go to her favorite spot and wait for her there? Share some stories about her and honor her.
Mm.
I do
I mean,
believe
she's
I've
not
heard.
dead.
I
don't think.
Yeah, but someone doesn't have to die in order for people to praise them. It's something we can do to pass the time, to show our appreciation to her, and leave her be for some time. People are coming to her all day long, 24/7, with questions, with, can you do this for me? Can you help me with this? Can you teach me this? Can you teach me the other? Can you help me with the other? I think she deserves at least one day off a year. Even the president goes on vacation.
All right, I'm just gonna say it like this, Colin. Do you really want to look for her?
Originally, yeah, but
Look, you pulled me. Well, Jason pulled me from having a good beer, and I was having time relaxing because no, we are down for the cause now. No way, no sir. We about to look for. We about to find her, whether she likes it or not.
Look, Desmond, the lupus or fuck, who are you? He looks at Rasfat.
Just for the sake of arguments, he is gonna shift to his breed form.
Oh shit, you.
And Raz looks at Colin. Yeah, I do believe we weren't formally introduced. I'm Razvan Yorga, Dided Shadow's Wisdom, born on 2 feet. Galliard of the Shadow Lords. Cleeth to the nation.
Colin Edwards, deeded hardtack. Hamid Bor Naroon, child of Gaia and Cleeth to the nation. Yeah, I remember you. Okay.
And then he looks at Desmond. Desmond, I do believe you're a Cleeth now, right?
Do not call me by Desmond no more. It's Shreds of Corrupt. Shreds for short.
You have become a little bit of a robot again, just to give your heads up.
Yeah.
He's a Weaver spy.
It's okay, he's Weaver tainted. It's fine. It was Shreds the Corrupt, just to make sure it came through okay.
Okay. I see. Well, congratulations, anyway.
Yeah. Thanks. But I don't. Okay. The whole overall thing. If we do wait, whatever. I don't I don't know. This whole thing is I don't know. I don't feel right about this.
If it goes longer than a day, then yeah, things are going to start moving in certain directions. But at the moment, friend here has a point.
You can't.
Oh, shit, we forgot about Jason.
What a timely time to swap over. Sudden camera change to the Tellurian, where Jason, bless his little heart, has been searching in a grid pattern, and of all things has stumbled across one of the other well-protected areas. And the downside of 10 Point's tactic in hiding herself is that it leaves several separate little trails, any one of which can be picked up, and there ain't a wolf in the world that has paw prints that big.
Jason has actually gotten pretty darn good at tracking things while he's here. So he is he finds a chunk of trail and goes, "That's funny." It picks up out of nowhere, and wait a minute. He follows a little chunk of trail. He checks the front. He checks the back. He goes, "Huh," and will comically attempt to see if he can cross over into the Umbra at the end of the trail again. I believe in you.
Oh my
Nope.
goodness.
Jesus Christ. Jason will continue searching and attempt to see if he can find more fragments of trail. Oh my god, why do the dice hate me?
Considering how well you rolled on tracking, I will assume that after an amount of time you find another chunk of trail. But
Unfortunately, if people are trying to now find Jason, it's going to make it kind of difficult because he's all over the freaking place. But yeah, no, he will continue finding little chunks of trail hither, thither, and yon. He deduces, because he's a smart man, that 10 Point has been walking in and out of the Umbra, which means that she does not want to be found, which he would usually respect, except that he's really worried about her right now. Because, nobody worries like adopted family. So he's going to keep looking. And eventually, hopefully, cross into the Umbra. I don't know. How many times am I allowed to roll this?
I mean, you're allowed to continue trying every hour. So I guess we will just camera snap back to these chuckle fucks until you can do another attempt. We will assume a little bit of rapidity in the passing of time out of mercy.
Getting an 18-second fight for 2 hours and traverse 2 hours in about 30 seconds. Colin's answer to looking for Jason is a lot the same as his original answer to looking for 10 Point. We're going in slowly tightening circles.
Good guy.
He's not a clever man.
Wait a second, you lost the freaking cup.
I mean, lost is a strong term.
Misplaced?
Yes.
I see.
So you misplace something, it's still somewhere in the proverbial house, which I'm going to assume is true in this case.
Yeah, but when you misplace someone, they tend to like walk around. So they might not be exactly where you left them.
True. That being said, Colin just gives a wary look to like any direction, assuming that when you walk long enough, you'll get to the edge of the sept. There's only so far it could have gone.
And I will assume, since he is doing ever slowly closing loops, I will give Jason one more attempt to come through before they just find him in the Tellurian. I believe in you, Jason. You can do it.
The real question is, Are they remembering to search the Tellurian, or are they all still in the Umbra?
No, they're still in the Umbra. It's the best part.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they don't find him. They search at length. Go ahead and make another roll, Mayor, for the love of all that's holy. There you go. Law of averages, finally.
Finally, the law of average. That's the
Hallelujah.
Yeah, finally, Jason finds another trail, and it tapers off. And he tries to cross the Umbra again. And this time, instead of smacking face first into the gauntlet, he actually manages to get through. God help me. And he will look to see where that trail has gone, since he's been following this trail, like, across the sept.
And wouldn't you know it, yeah, the trail just magically starts right about where he's standing and continues. 10 Point is not a sneaky guru at all. She tries, but she's not.
I mean, yeah. So, Jason is now in the Umbra, probably, like, way behind the lines of where Colin and everyone else are searching. Because, you know, that's how that goes down. And he is following the trail some more. And since he's already mapped most of where the trail is on the Tellurian side, now he's following the other half of it in the Umbra.
And it will lead him into a portion of the park referred to as the Ramble, which is just a nice little nature walk thing in kind of the southernish corner of the park. Obviously much bigger and lusher in the Umbra than it is in the Tellurian, but definitely something nice and secluded, and thus fairly promising. And he will realize that while there has obviously been some points where the trail has doubled back and then probably continued in a different direction in the Umbra and then gone this way and then continued in the direction, it's steadily working that way.
And so, he soldiers onwards.
He do. And I will let you...
How dumb of an idea would it be to try and, like, call out for Jason?
I've got this. Jason!
I hate you a little. As he is wandering into the ramble, he hears the wild call of a, well, weirdly disconnected. God damn it.
Shall we roll to see if Colin's even on the correct side of the sept at this point?
You can always roll like perception alertness to see if you hear it.
Oh, that works too. Yeah, sure.
Disney head is just vibrating, just trying to like imagine it to be a beer because he really needs one right about now.
Dude, right
Jason
now.
hears it.
Oh, perfect. That's so majestic.
And he kind of stops and kind of looks around. It's weird. I hear Colin. Yeah?
I will assume you hear it as a reasonable bellow across the Umbra, because Lord knows how far apart you guys are.
Okay, so this is where the real fun starts. Because what occurs, you know what, Desmond, you got your wish. We're no longer going in circles. Instead, we're engaging in a wonderful game of Umbral Marco Polo.
No.
As the entire area just starts going, Jason! Yeah? Jason! Yeah?
What? Oh, God, I can't even.
Yes, we're just gonna look up in the sky by 10 Point. Right. I hope this was worth it.
Oh, Lord. I will assume with
Well?
Marco Polo, sooner or later, your
Oh my
groups can
God.
collide, unless you want it otherwise. Unless you would like to just stop answering like an asshole or something. And they stared at each other longingly.
Staring contest.
Nah, there's no stare down here.
Dancer's just gonna look at Jason once they collide, just like took you long enough.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah. Decisions were made. It's pretty obvious at this point that 10 Point doesn't want to be found. I'm going to choose to honor that.
And Nathan kind of blinks at him and kind of just like literally just looks over at the giant footprints that they're like 10 feet away from, and it's just like, what?
Look, this likely has to do with some
Stuff.
pretty...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm doubting this is the first time.
And that makes you less worried?
Well, she's survived this long. It's not an ideal answer, but it's the least harmful.
You said it yourself, Colin. Let's give her 24 hours.
Yeah.
She specifically said she doesn't want to be found. I don't know how things are over here, but back home, if it's less than 24 hours since someone disappeared, they won't even file a missing persons report. So let's take a chill pill.
I haven't seen her since yesterday.
That's
Yeah.
not exactly abnormal for the last week. So it's pretty in keeping with what's been going on. If my theory is correct, things will stabilize about as soon as tomorrow, if not the day after.
When is Aiden expected back?
No idea, but you can
And you
bet
think things
that
are gonna
yours
stabilize
truly...
without him?
Shit. Maybe. Look, her life, her existence predates Aiden.
Yes.
But Fiona keeps saying that they're family, so I guess
And-
this can be all connected with this.
Now, look, in a worst case scenario, at a minimum, this is something that's probably going to involve Little Red, all right?
What?
Saoirse Raya. You know, the Adrian who's been fucking up and down
Yeah,
Sept
no,
all day?
She's out in the city now.
Shit. Probably about ready to tear somebody's head off, too. Shit. All right. Let me think.
Okay, I've got 3 magic words for you guys if you just chill the fuck out.
What?
Shots I'm buying.
That's something I can live with.
Jason looks highly unconvinced.
Okay, look, okay, I'm just gonna cut it down like this because I've been interrupted from my me time for this. So basically, the look on Jason's face, he's just gonna point, is the face of utterly, and that's the usual face of super concern. You, Colin, seems like you're trying to convince yourself that it's going to be okay, and it won't be okay. I, on the other hand, would like my personal me time, and since I am now invested into looking for said 10 Point, I would like to see this through. If she is not okay, then she will tell us to go away. If she is okay, then she will happily, humbly accept us. So, other than that, I am invested now. and we need to go find her.
What would
Because
we even do if we found her?
I don't know. We're gonna have to see the situation.
Well, you fucking. I can tell you right now, I'm not qualified for this.
I have half a face. Do you think I'm qualified for this?
Fair.
Neither of us is at least a theurge. Maybe she's dealing with spirit stuff. And neither of us is qualified to handle that.
I did wonder why she wasn't around for the lunar event this morning. Maybe it's part of that.
Yeah, it's a super rare moon tonight.
Also, given
It
into
was
account.
this morning.
Oh,
Also,
time
given
zones.
to account that she usually plays her little violin, whatever, and I usually hear that every morning, and she didn't do it. And I think she has a strong inkling of always doing that every morning, and I don't think she would miss a chance to do that. So yeah, that's not something she usually do because she is quite a repetitive person when it comes to her duties and quite efficient.
Well, that one's a right, I'm pretty sure.
You think 10 point miss out on doing the right?
It's true.
Jason looks more uncomfortable.
Yeah, Colin is getting repeatedly caught in Colin.exe crashing and restarting.
Look, we go look for her. We look for her, and if she doesn't want to be bothered, she can tell us that with her own mouth. If something else occurs, then we deal with the problem when it happens. Sounds fair enough? Sounds good? Mm-hmm.
You can believe me, or you can choose not to believe me. But she specifically told me she doesn't want to be found on this day. She took some private time. That's why she
And
wasn't
I'm
playing
choosing to
anything
be-
this morning.
And I'm going to choose to be the stubborn, get offenders that I am and say, I don't acknowledge that. Woo-hoo! Let's go and look for her.
Okay, if you think disrespecting the wishes of your elders is the way to go, go nuts.
Oh, like you wasn't doing that when you first got here, but we're gonna act like that didn't happen. So let's go.
Desmond, I swear to fuck. Give me a second. In the event that this guy over here isn't lying, that is about as close to a direct order as we're going to get. That we have to stand by. I can't really identify any
If
kind
she
of...
specifically said she doesn't want to be found. And I have no reason to disbelieve you, Rizwan Raya. Then maybe we should wait.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm on board with that too.
Somebody buy me a goddamn 6-pack.
We can do you one better than that, man. Shit.
I'm guessing there's no 7-Elevens on this side of the Umbra. Of the Gauntlet, sorry.
No. Listen, I've got a handle of scotch at my place. Desmond, have you developed any system to keep shit inside of your face?
Look, I did. It's a work in progress. You know, it's something that
Let's go work on that then. Fuck. Oh, I see a dice roll.
You will see basically looks obvious Desmond as looks like basically zigzagging across like the ground, but he doesn't pick up nothing. He'll just be like, What is Sir Jason doing?
You kind of sigh, like deep breath and sighs.
And that would be a subterfuge versus a perception alertness for the rolls.
I will roll for that.
You are welcome to. You need more than one success.
More than one, you say? What a perfect time to
Not
botch.
subterfuge. I suppose stealth. My bad. What a perfect time to botch. Did you really?
No, I got one success, so you
Would've
beat
been
me.
amazing.
But wouldn't that have been great, though?
Colin walks into a tree.
Dunk.
Just like stabs out his own fucking eye on a
The tree
jagged
says,
branch.
ow. Because you're in the Umbra.
Ooh, why? No, not PNPCing. Fucking derail the rest of the scene, having y'all talk to Ents.
Oh my god. So the only one with a successful check was Jason. Who, while, yeah, the side comment was not but so wrong. They are not but so far away from 10 Point, and she can probably hear that there are people there and is making an effort not to make a lot of noise, but it's not stopping what she is up to. Jason will probably hear what amounts to some attempt to be stifled, but kind of a pained groan.
His head snaps around. What the?
What?
Yeah.
I heard something.
Like what?
Sounded like somebody groaning.
It's definitely a it's not a human noise. And how much blood you smell depends. Well, I mean, you're human, but that was a really good roll. So I guess if you feel like you could catch the coppery tang, you're welcome to. There's certainly enough there that I would say it is perceptible to a human nose.
And Jason kind of takes a few steps towards the noise and then... I smell blood.
I guess it's go time, man.
Yeah, let's check it out.
And Jason will follow his nose.
I mean, Jason
Carefully.
already had a trail and everything.
Yeah.
The thing that becomes a point of interest is that while 10 Point is huddled down and probably behind one of the fallen trees in the ramble, there comes a point where you get essentially this effect, albeit this is dirt and not concrete, but there's kind of squelching and red stains on your shoes.
What?
You didn't need those to be clean,
What?
right? Like,
What?
the ground is essentially waterlogged.
Yeah, Colin will go up to Glabro and motion towards the others because that is a lot of blood.
Desmond is now in
distressing.
Krynos.
Oh, Jesus.
It is
Yeah.
a very distressing volume. Jason will kind of stop and like look back at the other guys, Razvan included. Although he is probably standing like 15 feet away staring at them like, what did we just agree on?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Des
Just
was in.
talked about this.
Razvan's
Dance was
basically
in
giving everyone
Krynos.
the stink eye.
So what's
Colin, Bob has an idea of what's going on here. Colin just kind of ran into a random pool of blood.
What'd you say, Lupu? I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, basically, Raz is giving everyone the stink eye, like we were going away. The fuck?
And yeah, it doesn't take but so much work to find a Krynos-sized bulk, really, even with a nice, convenient fallen tree to thump down alongside. And, 10 Point's coat is usually red-tinged. It is not usually this red-tinged. It is also not usually soaked and clotted in places, in lots of places.
Gee, God.
But yeah, with some effort, they will eventually stumble across the keeper of the land, who is in her breed form and curled up on the ground and pretty much damn near head to toe soaked in blood. And there is a certain hint as to the sheer volume, as even as they're walking up, whatever she may have been up to, any seams in her hide are sealing at a rapid pace. But there is blood soaked into the fur. There are places where it has already clotted and dried because it is earlier cuts and whatnot that have not been rinsed away, that have not been dealt with. But there is no injury. There is just the obvious sign that this has been going on for a period of time, based on the fact that certain parts of her hide, there are lines and cuts that are well progressed to dry, while others are still like freshly damp and a brilliant red. And yeah, the earth around her, seeing as she is on the ground and not on something like concrete, is wet. It's heavily soaked with it, and considering it's been wet weather, it's not like pooling on top of the ground, it's just kind of soaking in. But all in all, she's quite the picture, and is, bless her soul, at least clutching what looks like a stone-napped blade as opposed to a traditional knife, or look like she's using claws or teeth or anything. So even though they walk up and there's no visible injury in the moment, it is very clear that she is laying there and panting and exhausted from what is very possibly hours of this treatment.
And to the best of his ability, Razvan is gonna go, like, actually come running towards Colin and Desmond, whoever happens to be in front. So basically running
Jason
in front.
is in front and has stopped dead, and then actually backs up a couple steps.
Okay,
Yeah.
he's
With an
running in
expression
front
of
of the
just
three.
horrified disbelief on his face.
Colin, when they're all in a line, Colin just slowly spreads his arms out across the two of them and starts walking backwards, and all three of them gonna be like Homer Simpson in the bushes.
Yeah, pretty much. Like Desmond just like has a shock, like Frido's face. Like he slowly shifts down and be like,
And Raz goes in front of the three, and be like, "There, you found her. Happy? Now let's go."
Yep, time to nurture that nascent drinking problem.
Good man.
Jason
Desmond,
does not look even remotely reassured.
yeah, like
Desmond,
yeah.
Jason, truce. We're all just gonna be in my place.
I mean, he points at her like she lost a crap ton of blood.
Believe me, shit comes back faster than you can blink. I didn't smell silver.
For what it's
Jason
worth,
just
10
kind of-
Point's entire reaction has amounted to like being curled into a small ball. It's kind of piteous, which is weird for something that big and that violent looking, but that's about it.
Jason just kind of nods dumbly and backs up a couple more steps.
As we're all just kind of headed away.
Stained shoes and all.
Yeah.
Desmond
A lot of
is
scrubbing.
Desmond just gonna be just gonna rub in between his eyes, just gonna be rubbing it, just like she needs help.
Hope that you, me, and a lot of people aren't even vaguely qualified to provide.
Don't you call her
That
your
is-
friend?
I do, and that is why we are walking in the general direction of away. Think there's a goddamn thing I can do to stop that? So let me clue you in. There's really fucking not.
Aren't you supposed to be good at this? I heard Child Guys was good at doing stuff like this.
Which is
like,
why we're walking
helping.
away. I've seen what happens when people who don't know what they're doing fuck around with this shit. It's a situation a million times worse. So I'm going to learn a lesson from my overzealous brothers and sisters as they have walked throughout history and passed down their wisdom unto us and do what they fucking instructed me to do in these situations. She's not in immediate danger of dying, so we are going to fucking leave.
Oh, I hate my conscience. I can't leave her.
Okay, how about this? Guys, hear me out here. How about we get to the nearest bush and we guard her from a distance. Give her some privacy. There's 4 of us. 2 of us sit in the Umbra, 2 of us sit in the Tellurian. We guard her, we give her her privacy, her wishes are met, and our conscience is clear that we let no harm come to her. Sounds reasonable?
Kind of nods.
I can live with that.
It's best to you don't leave people who's like that, suffering through stuff like that alone. Seeing that a lot in orphanage and whatnot, you don't leave them alone. Stuff tends to go bad. Which is
why we're at a distance. She's not technically alone. I do not look forward to explaining this shit to Little Red.
Okay, I'm staying in the Umbra. Who else is with me?
Yeah, I got it. On second thought, Desmond, why don't you accompany me in the Tellurian?
Sure.
Give Jason the bro nod like I'm doing this for you.
Jason still has this, 1,000-yard stare. Like, kind of nods again, but he's kind of half there and half not at this point.
Raz just goes up to Jason and just snaps his fingers in front of him. Gonna need you to focus, man.
Yeah, no, it's been a long time since I got mud like that on my boots last. I'm good. I'll stay in the Umbra.
You're safe. And don't make a habit out of eating cubs.
About.
And don't make a habit out of eating cubs. Please try not be the first one.
No, I wanted to talk to you anyway, if you don't mind.
Do you think we have anything better to do until she's done? We're gonna have a lot of time to talk. And besides, I'm a Galliard. I'd die if I wouldn't share stories.
Kind of nods again.
And he goes to the nearest tree, basically puts his ass on the ground, and rests back on the tree, somewhere opposite the bushes out of which they just came out of.
Yeah. Jason will do much the same. Grateful that he doesn't have to try and traverse the gauntlet again, because his face hurts right now.
And guess going back to Tellurian, that Desmond and Colin get to do a similar thing, except it's cold.
I guess.
But there can be liquor, so.
So I guess we roll for that, or we just go.
I'm just gonna
can let you guys have it at this point.
Okay. Desmond is just gonna be like, just like rubbing his head, like trying to make conversation with the real heavy event. A lot of blood there, wasn't it?
Oh, no. If we're not ending the scene, there's no ST to excuse us. Come on, buddy. Let's tempt fate.
Yes. Basically, he's just gonna say there was a lot of blood, was it? Trying to make conversation.
Oh, I did not botch or even fail. Yeah.
Well, that's going to be a hard thing to tell her pack mates, huh?
As I said, wow, this brought me all the way around to sobriety. I do not look forward to that conversation.
Well, you're chummy with Aiden, right? Aren't you not?
I am well aware of my position in relation to the Seegers.
Yeah, pretty much.
And when Sir Shariah is consolable, I will inform her.
Sounds like a job that you know, could be well suited for, not me.
You said it.
You know, he basically going to start like hitting at the table, like, you know, fingers tapping like at the table and say, you know, it's kind of hard putting on the face every now and then, even though I only got half one, you know.
Yeah.
You want me to be honest with you?
Is that what we're doing right now?
Yeah, that's what we're doing right now. I feel like I could be honest with you.
You might want to measure out what you say to me right now, Desmond.
Or you'll do what?
Something I haven't done before.
He'll kind of like lean forward. I didn't appreciate that video that was made about me that Aiden did. I didn't appreciate it. But at the same time,
It's a
taught me a lot of
ragabash. You're
stuff.
not supposed to like it.
Yeah. But at the same time, you know, I didn't.
Why are you telling me this, Desmond?
Only thing I'm just saying is, you know, I've laid off the Cubs or whatever you thought I was doing. I'm just, you know, putting it out there to just keep my name out your guys' mouth. I know you're chummy, and that's what he just go. I know you all chummy.
This you stopping me?
And basically, he is going to. Have you been talking behind my back?
Desmond, the only things I've ever said about you, I've said to your face in living color.
Yeah, you're right about that. But I can still sense there's a tension between us, so we might as well get it out on the table now. Seems like we didn't tell our grievances before.
We settled
What do you
one
guys
beef, Desmond.
What's
That
the
doesn't
other
mean we
one?
have to like each other.
What's the other one? Oh, you don't like me?
Nah, I can't say I'm very partial to you at all.
How about we settle it then?
You realize that no matter how many times I cave the good half of your skull in, we're not going to be friends, right?
You know.
Here's the magic. Ready for the magic? We don't have to be friends. We just have to execute our jobs. Think you of all people can understand that.
You know what? I just want to beat that pretty little face of yours in.
And as Desmond and Colin launch over the fucking table at each other, what are Jason and Rasvan doing?
Jason had some questions about Garo history that he wanted another Galliard's perspective on. Because Jason is boring, apparently.
I'm sorry. 10 point. Look what you did.
Look, man, there's not going to be a more perfect slash cut to the other conversation.
Yeah, exactly. No, that was very nicely done. Y'all can roll in the background or do whatever you need to do, and we'll go over to this here ever so pleasant history lesson where we pretend someone isn't methodically mutilating herself in the background. It's fine. It's fine.
Like 10 point is like, it's about me, guys.
I'm from Eastern Europe. I can
definitely
handle
strange.
people mutilating themselves in the background.
But yeah, no, Jason's tone is a little strained, perhaps, but it's a distraction, okay? And he had, in fact, been intending to ask Razvan about Garo history, since he has gotten his cub lesson, which was distressing, and he talked to Saoirse about it. And it had been suggested that he specifically ask a Shadow Lord about the Bat People and what happened to them. So he will. With the desperate air of someone who really, really wants to be distracted.
So, what do you want to know, Jason?
I understand that the Shadow Lords specifically have a very particular view of what happened to the... I can't pronounce the name. The Bat Fira. And given the distressing nature of Garo history as a whole, I would like to have as much information about it as I can before I form any hasty opinions.
Well, there are stories, to be honest. But I might not be the best one to answer your question. When it comes to the bats, that's a weird thing. How much do you know about the Shadow Lords?
Thought about asking about the tribe as well. No one really wants to tell me anything, except that they value strength. And that they're not always trusted.
Fair enough. I'm guessing you want an actual lesson, not like an info bite that you can find on the back of a bubblegum wrapper.
Those are all dad jokes anyway, so I would prefer an actual lesson, Razvan Raya.
Most people are going to tell you that we're not trustworthy and that we value strength. They couldn't be more wrong. Don't value strength. Actually, not what most people would call strength. We value ability. We value wisdom. We value respect. We follow Grandfather Thunder. Grandfather Thunder is, after all, a totem of respect. There's an old saying that says that thunder rules with a fist of iron and a voice of silk.
Never heard that one.
We are seen as not trustworthy because we hide our intentions. Think of us working like the FBI. Everything among the Shadow Lords is on a need-to-know basis. If you need to know it, you'll know it. If you don't need to know it, nobody's gonna bother to tell you. Hell, most Shadow Lords won't even tell you this much about our tribe. But I kinda like you. And you'd make a decent lord, so might as well give you the Shadow Lord 101 while we wait.
He gives him kind of a lopsided smile. Well, glad someone thinks that. Thank you.
To be honest, I'm a bit disappointed that the Den Father didn't decide to share more about our tribe with you. But he has his reasons, and I have mine. We like to test our leaders. That's why we're seen as untrustworthy. That's why some people would call us disrespectful. Some people would even go as far as to call us litany breakers.
That seems a bit harsh.
We firmly believe in giving the devil his due. Respect is something very volatile in society, whether it's human society, whether it's goddess society. You could be a perfect little angel. First time you fuck up and shit hits the fan, you're gonna be shit stained for the rest of your life. Some people say that within each Shadow Lord, there's a bit of a ragabash, regardless of their auspice. Some say that even though ragabash is supposed to have a sharp tongue, that Shadow Lord ragabashes have a tongue so sharp they could cut snowflakes in midair.
I see how that could engender a little bit of and my words just disappeared. Upset. We'll go with that. Flu brain. Sorry, guys.
Pe-
I see how
people
that
are-
might upset some people.
People get upset when they don't know the whole story. Deep down inside, we're all 4-year-olds. We cry and kick if we don't get our toy when we want it and how we want it. Once we grow older, information kind of becomes the toy.
One of them, definitely.
The favorite toy. Regardless of what you want, you need information on how to get it. The easiest, the fastest. Let's say you want money. Okay, you want $10 million. You want to win the jackpot at the next lottery. What you think you want is the money. What you actually want is the proper numbers to put on the ticket in order to win that money. That's a piece of information. Everything you want or need, or will ever want or will ever need, is tied to a piece of information.
Knowledge is power. And power is the end goal of almost everyone.
The fact that we like to test our leaders, that comes from our lupus brethren. When wolves attack a herd, they attack the weakest and the oldest. That's why the weakest and the oldest are at the end of the herd, so they can serve as cannon fodder. And so you'll never see the weakest and the oldest lead. You're gonna see old Garu among the Shadow Lords. Old Garu that lead. Aruns that in their Homid form have gray hair and shows signs of aging. Trust me, they can kick your ass and turn you into sushi before you even get a coffin. But they defend it on a daily basis. There are people that are trained to sleep with a knife under their pillow. As far as the bad people are concerned, I think it's an old trauma of ours. We hail from Eastern Europe, most of us.
And there's two of me. Oh boy.
Oh no, I have 2 cubs to teach.
Sweet!
Yeah, score.
Sorry about that.
So we hail from Eastern Europe. That's a homeland to the vampires. Vampires back home. And one of the most vile, worm-tainted creatures you're ever gonna see. One of their favorite things is turning into bats. Some say that the Shadow Lords who met this bat Pharaoh thought them to be allies. They were too similar. That's what our stories say. They're too similar to our old enemies. And you can only be so similar to something before you start borrowing its other traits. I'm not here to judge my forefathers. I trust in what they did, that they did it for the good of the tribe and for the good of the nation. Just because we like to speak more than we like to fight, it doesn't make us incompetent fighters.
You're not the only tribe that could be said of. And I'm inclined to agree. Although that's caused some friction between myself and some other people.
Problem is that people, as time passed, people started understanding less and less about respect. But fear is a primal thing. Fear comes from our wolf side. Most shadowlords choose to
There's
rule
lots
through.
of fear in humans too.
There's fear in both our sides. So that's why some of us choose to rule through fear, if respect cannot be earned otherwise. It's a dirty job, the one we have to do in the nation. But I believe it is a righteous one. It's the mission that our mother gave us. Make sure that our leaders are always strong. Make sure that our betters and our elders reach their position on merits. Challenge them. Should we have enough proof against them? Challenge the deeds that are sung about them. Challenge the names that they bear. Challenge the positions that they have. But we do not believe in being the Chinese drop and nibbling away at someone's reputation till they failed. We wait in the shadows. We gather our information. Make our little dossier. When the time comes and they stepped out of line too far and start endangering their pack or their sept or their tribe or the nation, it is then we make our voices heard.
He nods again, looks more satisfied. And certainly glad of the apparent honesty of the answer. And we'll
I'm willing to bet that you don't even have to P&E this, but I'm willing to bet this is the most honest a Shadow Lord has ever been to you, period.
It's probably the most sentences a Shadow Lord has ever spoken to him without insulting him or trying to hit him. So, yes. And on that note, he will lapse into silence for a short time and take a brief look back over his shoulder. Just, kind of not moving, but wondering how things are going.
Well, how fortuitous. There will be a point, and it becomes pretty clear, especially as they're sitting there and just chattering and not paying any undue attention to her and have given her some space. It becomes pretty clear that she's flopped there out of exhaustion, and as their conversation goes on, she'll eventually lurch her way up again. It is it's obviously the act of someone who is just wrestling more with weariness than with even her internal struggle at this point. And she lurches herself up and somehow manages to hold on to this the napped blade, even though it's soaked in her blood too. And she goes through what's probably what she's been doing all day again, where she pulls herself up, has full access to her body, and again just goes through a series of cuts. And it's not wild, hateful slashing. If anything, it looks like she is carving purposeful symbols in the process. But she, down her arms, across her body, down her legs, she obviously can't see whatever she is putting on her face, but she goes through and just top to bottom cuts herself open. And ironically, by time she moves on to the next symbol, the first one will be in the midst of healing. Because, well, a Guru and Krynos just, they heal so gosh darn fast. In her case, in any form, they just heal so gosh darn fast. So there's certainly blood loss, there's certainly pain, but it becomes very blatantly evident as she goes top to bottom, re-soaking herself in blood, that there's not necessarily a risk of death, if only because the pace that she's going at doesn't allow the cuts to linger long enough to offer real earnest threat besides blood loss. And of course, once she has finished this round of cutting, she just kind of slumps back down to the ground again, which is kind of wet and slurpy and gross, but all in all, she just kind of slumps down again, exhausted, panting. She doesn't make a lot of noise. You imagine that she generally just doesn't want people to be aware of what she's doing and is probably very pointedly gritting her jaw. But yeah, it's an almost mechanical, too many times practiced process where there's just never quite enough damage done at any given point in the process that she looks like she's going to keel over. She just loses enough blood to finally flop down again and just lay there in her soggy puddle of blood and mud and blah. And presuming all four are planning to stick around until such a time as she finally finishes, she will eventually, as conversations go on, finally just kind of drop the stone blade, prying her fingers open as if she's kind of forgotten how, and start shakily climbing out of her little bolt hole, as it were. Not looking at the pair that are close by and is still in the Umbra, just starts climbing out, obviously opting for quadrupedal motion because it's a lot easier when you're shaky off a long period of severe blood loss. She ain't pretty.
Jason just kind of like back looks Razvan.
Razvan puts his finger on his lips, just gesturing to Jason to shut up, as in not say anything. And he's looking at 10-point with a very neutral look. He had enough time to mentally prepare for what he's gonna see. So he will not speak unless spoken to.
Jason? Neither will Jason, although he looks probably a bit more shaken.
And sorry, the side chat is a little sleep. And yes, sooner or later, it's not a quick process, but there is a part of one of the streams that courses through the ramble, and it's almost like she had this in mind. And so, very tired, very very dirty Metis will slowly just claw her way along, slowly and steadily, maybe misplacing a foot or a hand here or there, but just kind of climbs her way down, and will eventually submerge herself and leave the river looking. Oops, if I can find my stuff. Leave it looking somewhat more colorful, as it were, than it started. But yes, she'll work her way there, get herself a proper dunking. She doesn't take the time to go and scrub-a-dub-dub it, but she dunks herself in there, gives her big body a shake, apologizes kind of weakly to the little water spirits that are lingering around, and eventually hauls herself back out, giving another shake because you know what? It's not that cold on this side, but on the other side, it's going to be real cold. And just kind of stands there in a bit of a daze once she's back out of the water.
Raz is gonna make his way towards, like, he's gonna follow the endpoint at like a respectable distance, but still not say anything and just be on call
Jason's
if she says anything.
traipsing along behind the Shadow Lord, being nice and respectfully quiet.
And she will, at least this time, seem to properly register their presence as they make their way down to the bank where she's just kind of braced herself. And finally, we'll tip her head around first to give Razvan a brief side eye. I could swear she looked vaguely appreciative. And she will lumber forward enough that by the time she turns her big head to Jason, she can just kind of treat him to a butt, a bit of a nudge from her, thankfully just wet muzzle at this point. Just a fond gesture for the cub.
Kind of sigh, but seems legitimately reassured and kind of returns it as a gentle headbutt.
And now only moderately bloodied. There are still places where it's fully clotted into her fur, and she'll have to deal with that later, but only moderately bloodied Metis will just kind of eke out what amounts to sorry. And then just picks up her big head and turns it and starts lumbering in a chosen direction. She's going this way, and she's going in a beeline. She obviously has some sort of intended destination. She will pause long enough to retrieve the blade, pulling essentially a hand towel out of her bag to wrap it up and shove it back
covered in
there.
birdseed.
It is, in fact, covered in birdseed. There's loose birdseed all up in that swag, and God help her when the time comes to clean it out properly. Maybe the magpie in it will appreciate it. Who knows? But she does retrieve the blade and tuck it.
It seems briefly at a loss for words. And then just kind of almost shyly, do you want something to eat? With the clear train of thought that she's just lost a lot of blood and should, probably eat something. That's normal, right?
It's pleasantly normal, in fact. And she kind of pauses and twitches an ear back because, let's face it, she's not used to getting normalized responses to her more outlandish behavior. She cants a glance back and finally bobs her muzzle. And even goes so far, actually, as to with great care and some amount of reverence, will shrug off her swag and look to him very seriously as she holds it out. Treat it with respect. Bring whatever you mean to bring. And bring it back to me.
he takes that thing like it is made out of 2,000-year-old porcelain. It's worth more than the entirety of New York. If you thought he looked anxious before. Oh boy.
Becomes abundantly clear that 10 Point has zero intention of leaving the Umbra.
He wasn't really going to suggest it because she's still kind of crusty and
Just a touch.
Krynos. But yeah, Jason will kind of turn around to Razvan and be like, do you have any preferences?
Coffee. Not anything with caffeine in it. Coffee, Red Bull, whatever. Go nuts. I'll pay you when we get to the other side.
Jason will, No, I'm not rolling for this. I'm being a complete... Nope. Jason will very carefully cross the Umbra with the magpie swag and totally not run into the gauntlet again.
Ironically, the swag will go with him without issue. Let it be known that it becomes
to the other
abundantly
side.
clear to both of them that she has set her head towards the rock, because that is where she has been doing most of her hunkering down.
And as Jason skedaddles, Razvan looks at 10 Point. I'm sorry I couldn't keep my promise. They wouldn't listen.
They didn't try to stop me.
You said you didn't want to be found, not didn't want to be stopped.
I heard you. You tried.
Trying is not the same thing as dying.
I mean, for what it's worth, she's still a little distant-eyed because blood loss. But she all the same heaves what amounts to a shrug, as though not especially concerned, at least in the moment. All we ever do is try.
Trying's not enough. Either do or do not. There is no try.
And Point has not seen that movie.
I know, but it was too good of a reference not to make it now.
She just kind of accepts the statement at face value. And again begins just lumbering. Not especially fussed with much more than making sure that her feet go on the ground like they're supposed to. Her hands too, because upright is way too hard and requires too much balance. But starts a very slow migration back to the rock and back to the blanket pile.
Jason emerges from the Umbra to find Colin and Desmond.
Oh boy.
It shouldn't have lasted this long.
Just go out of spite now.
It's been a while since Jason left these two alone. Even if he factored the average time between being left alone and an altercation, this shit doesn't make sense anymore. Colin's face is not doing well. Jason's face is doing more not well than usual. At this point,
The
I mean,
expression
Jason,
on
too.
Jason's face, probably. What the fuck? What?
Especially as these two just take turns launching their ham-hocked fists at each other like bricks. No one's even fucking dodging anymore. There's just the wet packing sound of damp meat and more blood on the fucking ground. Until finally, the two stop, breathing heavily, and thus the crescendo. Colin goes high, and Desmond goes low. But with one deep thunk, there's a double KO and a whole heap of fucking meathead on the ground. Welcome back, Jason.
Jason just kind of just stares at the two of them and then just turns around and walks off to find where he left his phone so that he can order some takeout or something. Yeah. He just walks off. Because this is just more than he can deal with right now. It doesn't actually take very long.
Do you give up, you bastard?
Not on your life, fucking jackass.
Round two it is.
Yeah, they're not
They look like they're on like
seconds
round
later.
6 or 7, but
Seconds later, they're up again, like a couple of fucking drunks leaning on each other, and thus the wrestling and the body punches begins. There's a tale of a bare knuckle boxing match that went for nearly 16 hours.
I feel like at this point they're just taking turns slapping each other.
they're like leaning each other and just
Why don't you go down?
And unless you all have particularly more to accomplish, I shall assume that sooner or later this will end in Jason at the at the Rock in the Umbra, successfully bringing across foodstuffs and returning the swag to 10 Point, who is kind of flopped on the blankets, which are now at least half wet. Thanks, Fur. Is there anything else you would like to do or say before we call this
Nope.
good?
Nope. There's a lot of coffee, like those big bottles of cold brew coffee, and a lot of like paninis because he's managed to find some shop that will deliver without asking too many questions, and tipped them greatly, carefully settled everything into the swag, and then made his way back, pausing briefly to stare at Colin and Desmond flopped on the remains of the picnic table still.
You mean that firewood?
Yeah, they will probably come to the Umbra basically and try to get some food.
You're gonna have to give me like a perception and alertness difficulty 10 to even realize that Jason walked past.
Y'all
Hold
focus.
up,
Twice.
With wound penalties, let me factor that.
With
in.
wound penalties, yes.
With wound penalties.
Okay.
Like one
y'all
guy
ready
to
for this? Hold
10,
on.
go.
Did you hear anybody? They just
That is a negative, sir.
yeah, like basically, Dance would just go look at Colin. Like, did you hear anybody coming?
I didn't hear shit. Focus.
Secret attack. And basically, just gonna go low again.
To go low, falls over. Y'all ridiculous.
Jason will deliver dinner. Awkwardly mention that Colin and Desmond didn't seem too interested in food right now, so I think we're on our own. Gives the swag back and just settles in to eat.
In the meantime, Rizwan's looking at 10 Point like he's a freaking CCTV camera, like nothing moves around 10 Point without him noticing.
Yep, she doesn't even try to climb up on the rock. There are blankets here at the base. They are now half soaked and at least a little bit stained. I'm sorry, Helena. But yeah, her interest in the outside world is little to none. And oh boy, the joy that will be everyone realizing that she's back. Just be lovely. But in the meantime, at least she gets some peace and quiet settled at the base of the rock with alert Shadow Lord. And then food, which she needs badly and will inhale very slowly but surely. But I dare say that at this point, with trauma and violence for everyone, I think we can just say thank you, players for playing and watchers for watching, and we will see you next time on the Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York.